All right. Well, I guess we're online here. Welcome everybody to Flower Field. Today we got Half a Heart going up against Sugar or SUG. I'm very excited to watch this matchup. How are you feeling, Numer?
I'm feeling really excited, happy to be here. Like he said, my name is Numer, and like he also said, we'll be watching Half a Heart versus Sugar, and they will be playing on Hospital Round One. Very excited to kind of see, what these two teams come up with as far as meta and off-meta picks. Is there any hunter in particular, Seven, that you want to see going into round one?
Gosh, man, I was harping on this during the entirety of Seaside Summer Marina that we did last June. I want to see a guard 26. That's my favorite hunter. I want to see him so bad, and he doesn't get enough love. So I want to see some guard played. But what about you? Any hunter, any survivor that you're interested in seeing?
Well, first, I will say guard 26, especially after his rework, is pretty strong, right? At least from what I've seen in rank. So, I mean, that'd be super exciting to see. As far as what I want to see, I'm not going to lie. I love seeing some Geisha gameplay. So, if we could get that round one, I mean, on Hospital, it wouldn't be a bad pick. Um, that'd be something I'm excited for. Even Clerk, man. I don't know. It's something about watching how Clerk controls the gameplay and just the Cypher Rush. Things of that nature just make me excited to watch it because there needs to be split second decisions made when going against her. And I'm
Oh
kind of
yeah,
sick of
I
seeing that
I,
goat
I
man and
agree.
everything else.
Yeah, I gotta say, Clerk as well. It's really fun to watch a Clerk. Although I'll be honest, my head, it starts spinning a little bit because they're just doing so much at one time. It's hard to keep track of all of it, but it's so fun to watch. People that have taken the time to learn characters like that because there's just so much you can do with them. The skill ceiling's so high.
No, I 100% agree with you, man. The skill definitely needs to be there. And the unfortunate thing with Cleric, even Geisha sometimes is that support. That heavy support team comp kind of changes the game. So, kind of excited to see as far as these survivors, kind of what builds and what comps they're going to come up with. Again, just like hunters, is there any particular survivors that maybe you feel don't get enough love or you want to see get chosen into this matchup?
That's a good question. I'm not as clear cut myself on survivors as I am hunters. If I had to pick one, I would say I really like to see Prospector and I really like to see Acrobat, kind of for the same reasons where it's like there's a lot of different ways you can use the abilities. So I really like, watching the players' choices and how they use the flexibility, if that makes sense.
No, it definitely does because with their kit and their abilities, there's a lot of different things they can come up with, and you always find something new when you watch people. But jumping straight into round one, we're going to see that mechanic and priestess ban. I believe priestess just because of how strong she is on hospital, but maybe potentially we might even see an off-meta hunter pick and the classic mechanic typically being banned. Very curious to see what these survivors are going to choose, having seer and antiquarian both open.
Yeah, well, it looks like they're going to opt for neither one, heading for the Gravekeeper and the Patient. I mean, both solid picks for sure, potentially looking to save those really, really strong survivors to waste bans in the later rounds, or just, I mean, maybe they'll be available, you never know.
No, 100%. I mean, again, with this third ban, they can only choose one or the other, and that's where we're going to see that Seer getting picked for the ban. And I'm very curious. I mean, Patient is strong. Maybe they're expecting off meta here, and we'll kind of just see. I mean, Grave is very, very strong, but they are throwing him away early, and we'll see Meteorologist get picked, which, again, I'm sure there's a lot of strong loops, especially her coming into this new meta.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially, on a map that like Hospital, generally considered to be fairly hunter side. That's a strange band, Mercenary coming out from the Hunter. I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah, it feels like it's coming out of the woodworks almost with them already having a rescuer picked. And you're going to see as this last pick, they're actually going to opt into taking Lawyer, more than likely going to just spawn him Hospital. Now, his map won't have as much use as it would like a rank match. However, he does have that decoding buff and things of that nature. So he's definitely strong with this type of team comp. And it looks like they built it around him as well.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm a little bit curious at the fact that they picked Lawyer as the fourth survivor, so they probably are going to be looking to bring out Lawyer in the future rounds, so that's going to be really interesting to see as well. I'm always a fan of seeing the Lawyer come out because I don't know why he's fun to watch. Maybe add him to the list of survivors that I enjoy seeing.
You know what? You're 100% right. So hopefully we'll see him in a round 2, potentially into round 3 as well. And for those who are just joining in, we're watching Half a Heart versus Sugar. And it looks like Sugar's Hunter will be going first against Half a Heart survivors. While they're locking in these builds, we're going to see the Hunter get chosen. And wow, potentially a violinist.
Wow. Yeah, not something you see every day. I mean, have we seen a violinist get played at all in this tournament yet?
See, that's a great question. Granted, I've only been here half the time. I would say I've never commentating seeing round 1 violinist. So this is definitely, especially on Hospital, kind of almost not even an off-meta pick. It feels like a wild card almost. Maybe they have, a strategy or team comp going into round 2.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. That's just, gosh, violinist just feels like Ponyo going like all the way up their sleeves right now and pulling out just like the ace of spades or something. Because, like, no one expects this. But, like, I mean, if you master the violinist, he can be a very terrifying hunter, especially on a map like this that has a lot of windows, a lot of palettes where you can use the strings to really great effect.
Yeah, I know you didn't get to see Guard 26, but we saw maybe a broker version of them, and we got violinists here. Very, very strong when it comes to that camping material. And they're going to opt into the classic spawns, having everybody spawn straight down with one spawning where Shack Dungeon is, which, again, having Patient there, and keep in mind the builds, we have Borrowed Time and Tied on Patient. Looks like the only Sui is going to be the Lawyer, which is a full kite. And we're going to see regular builds from everybody else, so very curious. Do you think they're going to opt into chasing this Gravekeeper right away? Or will they potentially go for that Patient who will probably push Shack?
I mean, if I was in the shoes of the violinist right here, I think I would go for the Patient. And the reason is, Patient, he's really strong because he can go into the hospital with the hooks and he can do really great hook maneuvers in that area. But in the downside of that is he's going to be running into the Lawyer as well. So you're also going to be kind of taking away from the Lawyer decoding time a little bit. So I think if it was me, that would be the plan I would take going into this game.
Which I don't think is bad at all, especially with Gravekeeper having a debuff when it comes to decoding. Not only will Cypher be disrupted, but more than likely he would have to rotate it a little bit. Also depends on what this violinist brought. Maybe they might opt into Peepers instead of Blink. Who knows? With so many wild cards going into round 1, I would say expect the unexpected while we load into this match.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, we brought the first round violinist to the table. I mean, just everything is in the cards right now. Like you can't exclude any sort of strategy with violinist coming out so early. I mean, it's just, God, I'm almost lost for words. I can't believe we're seeing such an off meta hunter so quickly.
And I think I'm even more surprised that we kind of saw 3 not round 1 usually picked survivors as well. So let's see, where he wants to go.
Looks like it is going to be for the Gravekeeper, picking up the Warp as his trait, not opting for Peepers or Blink. So going to be going very aggressive, which, I mean, is just what you kind of need to do with the violinist.
An amazing job by this Gravekeeper, not giving an early hit, also allowing a little bit of time to rotate. It looks like he's going towards Hospital instead of shoveling near that pallet. And we're going to see where Basement is as well. So it looks like it's Shack, runs into the note. Amazing note by this violinist here.
Yeah, that's a huge note hit because there's no time to burrow into the shovel, and Gravekeeper is going to be going down. Only about 40% being knocked out on that most progressed Cypher. So this is huge for the violinist. This is an amazing early game.
Yeah, amazing early down, especially, him dying on the Lawyer Cypher immediately allows him, a lot of pressure in itself with no Cyphers popped. Will they opt into having this Patient come in for the rescue? No, we're actually going to see a Warp chasing the Lawyer now. Amazing flywheel, but ends up missing.
Yeah, Flywheel not coming into effect, and Lawyer Yeah, Lawyer taking that damage. Violinist just going to be able to go back. He's inflicting a lot of damage on the board now. He's going to be able to get a hit on whoever comes to go rescue. Oh, actually not managing to get it, only hitting a Gravekeeper Burrow state. So this is maybe not so bad for the survivors.
Yeah, he could, you know, as long as he can dodge a note or two, he may be able to make up Kite here at Ruins, and ends up eating it, giving full presence to, well, amazing snipe by this Violinist.
Yeah, this Violinist, man, the notes that they have been putting out are just beautiful. They are playing the most fantastic melody with the violin right now and just sniping almost every single note on the survivors.
Which, again, I think would attest to his patience. You know, not folding under pressure. It looks like they will sell him with a shovel left as they are healing up the Lawyer, and he's putting pressure to possibly have Meteorologist decode a bit slower. Keep in mind we have 4 ciphers remaining, and they will be able to pop one here soon. Looks like he'll opt in possibly to chase the Meteor, knowing no one's going for the rescue.
Yeah, I mean, the Cypher progress is looking very good for the Violinist right now. Not a whole lot of progress really on the board, especially with the early or extra map pressure from the warp that he does have. It's going to be pretty difficult, I think, for the survivors to kind of recover a lot of that lost progress.
Really depends on this Kite right here. Amazing push by the Meteorologist. Again, not much he could do against that full presence. Will she be able to dodge the note? Amazing flywheel, but ends up getting hit anyways with basement being near. And as far as the Violinist's build, we're only going to see a detention, which some people call a snowflake build.
A snowflake build? Is that because it like kind of branches out to a lot of different areas?
Exactly. Yep. Looks like it has fast pallet breaking, desperate fight. Things of that nature, even though this team comp isn't really well versed into, you know, mainly harassing, but very curious to see Patient already using his Tide, kind of what they're going to opt into doing. As there are 2 ciphers remaining, she did die on one of them.
Yeah, I mean, and it looks like the Patient's been located really far away from the basement. I mean, he just can't go for this. This is not really an opportunity that he has. Going to be using a hook even to just make some distance to get away from the chair. This is pretty much just a secured kill for the Violinist, and that's going to put the survivors in a very, very difficult position. The goalposts have pretty much moved for them right now to just get one player out of this game to try to deny the 5 points.
And it looks like Patient at this point, like you said, is kind of just feeding Tinnitus, wanting to take the Kite early, and nobody will be able to rescue, guaranteeing that 2K at least. And we're going to see him end up actually dodging the note, as full presence as well. Doing very good by this Patient. Looks like he may eat a hit here though. Maybe even a bit of lag.
A little bit. I think the Violinist, yeah, he's going to go warp to this as well. I mean, Patient, I mean, what do you do here if you're the Patient, Noomer? Do you waste the hook to try to get a syringe and heal up, or do you just try to push ciphers?
I think at this point, I would push Shaq just because it was at 74%. Unfortunate that, you know, this Violinist has such good game sense, warping onto the Lawyer, not allowing him to pop this 88% cipher. And we'll kind of just have to hope and pray to, you know, whoever you believe in yourself, that Lawyer can kite long enough for him to get to both ciphers.
Hope and pray indeed, but he is going to be tagged by the final presence. Patient just trying to avoid the crows. But, I mean, this is just looking like a done deal, I have to say.
And for those who don't know, Final Deduction will not kick in for this tournament. So they will have to actually find the Patient. And I don't know, it looks like they were looking for dungeons, so they know it's not at 2 out of the 3 locations. And he's bringing Lawyer close to the basement, which potentially may not work out in his favor. Warp being on a 37-second cooldown, Lawyer may even be able to pop this Shaq cipher.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I didn't catch it. Did you manage to catch where the basement actually is in this match?
Yep, called it out after Gravekeeper ran into basement not being at hospital. But the real question is did the survivors call it out? And it looks like Dungeon's actually going to be S corner.
Yeah, it looks like it. Actually managing to see this Patient now. Only one more hook to work with. Exit path going to be popped from the Lawyer, but I think we can expect maybe a warp back to Lawyer just to try to really accelerate this back and forth situation, but is going to commit to the Patient.
And it looks like he may have enough time to pop this cipher, but no, he's going to end up chairing. So this will look like a 4K for the Sugar team, as their hunter ends up gaining them 5 points early game, which is going to be very, very crucial. This lawyer actually opening a chest in basement, doing the unexpected, I'd say.
In the unexpected, I mean, what item could you really be hoping for right now that is gonna do anything? It looks like he got an illusion. I mean, it's not nothing, but you gotta turn into a magician to be able to get dungeon with this.
Kind of, yeah, change this deficit, which he actually may be able to if this violinist cannot find him. And he
It
ends up
looks like the
finding the
trail
new
has been
footprint.
spotted, but Lawyer does have extended movement speed, so will he be able to make it to the dungeon area? I mean, patience halfway expired. It's possible. He does have that illusion left to work with still.
With the Sui build as well, with Flywheel being up, keep in mind it does take around 6 seconds after someone dies for the dungeon to open. Will he get hit? And he does not. Actually pushing away from the dungeon. Very curious to see what kind of strategy we're going in here for.
It uses flywheel over top of the illusion here. He might not know where dungeon is. He's really running away from it, or he might be planning to go loop back towards it by using the but gets tagged by final presence.
I feel like I've seen this before, Seven. Feel like I've seen this before.
Is triggering some deja vu there.
I guess so. I mean, it is very hard to see that full presence, so I cannot blame the lawyer, but amazing job by the Sugar Hunter for guaranteeing a 4K.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to put the Sugar Survivors in a really great position, as we prepare to head into the second half of round one here. Very, very scary, I must say, if you are on the side of half a heart right now. I mean, if I was the hunter for that team, I would be shaking in my boots for sure. I mean, nothing less than perfect to even be able to tie the round is a very, very hard position to be in.
Yeah, it definitely puts a lot of pressure on Half a Heart's Hunter, knowing he, to even tie this round will need a 4K. Very curious to see kind of what they're going to opt into or kind of what they're actually going to ban and expecting from this Sugar Survivors. Very curious if they're going to follow that meta or we're going to go for a few more wild cards.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to imagine that we're gonna see the meta bans at the very least, if not meta picks as well. But I'm sure these teams they've done a lot of research into each other that potentially might not be aware of. So we could see some crazy stuff coming out. Just if the hunter or survivors are aware of any specialty picks the other team might have. But it's really just a waiting game because that information is just not something we have too much access to, unfortunately.
And that's a-okay. Sometimes being patient is the best thing, as you saw from the violinists themselves. Having such a strong early game is definitely crucial, especially when it comes to presence. We didn't see any insolence from that, only detention. So just very, very well played. Even going for the Gravekeeper just showed how confident he was, knowing Chase and Patient might be, a longer route as, Violinist does get countered by transition survivors. So very curious to kind of see what we'll be running into going into the second half, but still excited to, you know, potentially see something, out of loop. Maybe we'll see a Hullabaloo as the typical meta is, or maybe a Goatman. And if you had to choose, Seven, which of the two would you be more excited to see?
I mean, excited to see. I would have to say I prefer seeing the Goatman, to be honest with you, because I don't think Goatman these days is too different when it comes compared to Hullabaloo in terms of like the skill, but Goatman can really pull off some really flashy plays, and like I'm always there for it. I always love going crazy whenever a hunter does something that like I couldn't even see the angle for. So I think I would prefer to see a Goatman over a Hulla. But what about you, Numer? Which one would you be rooting for?
You know, as a top Goatman main myself, and as the person I am, I think I'm going to have to play devil's advocate here. And I'm going to have to say that I want to see Hullabaloo. I mean, on a map like Hospital, I really haven't seen him much being played. So I'm kind of curious to see, what type of angles and routes. I know Hospital is actually pretty strong for him, surprisingly, as he could probably flip through, most of the stuff. But
Oh yeah. I guess that is contingent on having to get that first presence, though. So you are vulnerable to a first kite.
No, 100%. And hopefully they'll be bringing the typical tournament build with insolence and trump card. But you never know. With this type of tournament, with everyone learning how to be in competitive, I guess we're just gonna have to find out.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, like I said, it's we're just playing the waiting game. Of course these teams, they're making sure they got all their I's dotted, their T's crossed, all the ducks in the row. Preparing, making sure that they give themselves the best opportunity possible to come out on top. So we just gotta be patient to wait for them to reveal their strategies to us.
100%. And I think Sugar, I believe, so the survivors that are currently playing may have been the ones that picked Hospital. So as far as strategies, they may have, something going into play like potentially even an Embalmer. We might even see round one.
I
On
mean,
a
what?
map like Hospital would not be bad.
I mean, maybe what else isn't bad on Hospital? Mind's
Hmm.
Eye. Do you think we could
Oh
see a
man.
Mind's Eye?
I'm not gonna say no. I have seen a Mind's Eye, I believe, in this tournament, as well as a Pharaoh Lady. So if there's any decoders that are gotten chosen, we just got Lawyer, as you've seen here. So I wouldn't be opposed to seeing a Mind's Eye or even a Prisoner because of how strong Hospital is against most hunters. But we'll jump straight into it and kind of go from there as to see what the first two bans will be from this half a heart hunter.
Yeah, I mean, and just a reminder for everybody, we are seeing 5 points on the side of Sugar to kick off this round one. So half a heart knight here is going to have to pick up all four survivors if he wants to keep things drawn out in the first round. Otherwise, Sugar will be securing themselves a round win. And it appears that they think the path to doing that is a patient and mercenary ban.
Someone's been practicing patient a lot in their round one practices, as you can see, with him being played by the half a heart survivors and banned as well, knowing how strong he is on Hospital. And we're going to see Knight and Psychologist very, very strong picks, especially in this current meta with Psychologist support from across the map as well as Knight support, as well as rescues. And we're going to see Embalmer get banned as well. One of those strong picks, kind of guaranteeing almost a tie in most scenarios, especially on a map like Hospital.
Yeah, we're seeing the coordinator get hovered and locked in, committing themselves now from the side of Sugar to a double rescuing, kind of very tanky comp, I have to say. Like, there's a lot of, I don't know, a lot of single use abilities, I guess I would say. Oh, we're seeing a lucky guy. Is that a mistake?
That may or may not be a mistake. I know he is currently S tier on the Japan side of meta, so it may be accurate, but we're going to see what they're going to choose as this fourth pick. Very curious to see will they opt into a decoder bringing two light rescuers.
Yeah, and it
And
looks
that's
like Mechanic actually, not the decoder I would have expected, but I mean a very good decoder nonetheless. I mean, there's a reason she is banned very frequently. As the one of the first two survivors banned, a very very strong survivor.
which 100% makes sense. Mechanic being very, very strong going into round one, especially if they are expecting a meta comp. Even if it's off meta, she just does so much, even with a drop and go strategy. Very curious to see what spawn layout they go with as well. It'd be very hard for this hunter um, to kind of chase any one of these people, especially on a map like Hospital.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you had to choose, maybe coordinator or psychologist would be the best because, I mean, mechanics obviously go spawn in the hospital. So maybe you just play a character that can chase in hospital. I mean, I'm not so sure. There's still a lot of avenues for Knight to really explore here.
Especially if they go with an off meta pick. I mean, Knight's very strong, but it just depends. He does have his certain counters, and like you said, maybe I'd even opt into a coordinator as her gun is only 5 seconds, which is crucial in a game like this, early game. But that psychologist, man, unless you're playing a chip hunter, 3 hits, it's almost guaranteeing typically a three cipher kite. And like you said, with having mechanic spawn in hospital, there's not really much the hunter can do unless they opt into someone who potentially may be able to chase in hospital with a high chase.
I guess that's my guard 26 corrupted brain being like, oh yeah, psychologist, that's a pretty good chase.
For sure, as long as they're a chip hunter, but that's not what we're gonna see. We're gonna potentially see a Dream Witch round one.
Dream Witch. I mean, I actually really like the Dream Witch choice into this because Coordinator, I mean, is not going to be able to get a whole lot of value probably, and you do open yourself up to being able to chase fairly consistently in the hospital, which is also really good, especially if you want to get rid of that mechanic as early as possible.
100%. As well as Knight won't have as much effect as well, due to the
Oh,
sheer
you're
fact
right.
that they'll have multiple leeches on the field, especially with that first kite, and even moving into that mid to end game. Really definitely opens up a lot for this hunter, and definitely choosing Dream Witch is a 4K or lose type of scenario when it comes to round one. So I'm very curious to see how this early game's going to go. More than likely, will not opt into chasing this psychologist. So we might get a little bit more deja vu here, Seven, with the triple pallet chase going straight into forest. We'll see.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, if you had to pick one character on this team that was the hardest counter, I think it definitely is Psychologist. She can just take a lot of hits, especially if she gets hit by the leech. It's just so much time wasted. So you're definitely not gonna bother going with that if you are Knight in this situation. I do have to agree though. We're probably gonna be revisiting our old footsteps here and seeing a triple pallet chase, or potentially going in for the mechanic. That is also an option, although I think a little bit more unlikely, I would say.
Yeah, I would just say because it may waste a lot of time. Again, the biggest thing since, even old times in Akoa 3 and 4, we see this drop the bot and just run type of strategy, which does counter Dream Witch in a way. So more than likely we'll see Knight get chased, but I guess we'll let time do the telling here.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Knight is the one that is prepared themselves for this match. I mean, they definitely have an idea and a plan that they're going to be executing, and we're just along for the ride. We're just here to watch them perform and play to the best of their abilities.
And we're gonna see a beautiful Dream Witch skin. Wow. I'm
Yeah, this
actually
one's
in
really
awe
nice.
or in shock. Yeah, very, very beautiful here. And we're not actually going to see them chase the Knight. But like you said, possibly opt into going into hospital to chase this mechanic. And we will see the drop and go strategy from this mech already at statue. Wondering if this Dream Witch will be able to find the bot, and it does not look like she will. And ends up
Yeah, it
actually
looks.
chasing Knight.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of a detour, but we have arrived on the Knight eventually, and I mean, we're probably gonna see a patroller right away. No, a leech. A leech, and then most likely into patroller. I mean, there is a lot of patrollers available, of course, for Dream Witch. There we go.
And then we do see that the main body leech does not have infinite speed as well. So very curious to see if we will go for a double prediction here. And it actually doesn't end up dropping the pallet. And that patroller ends up working in the Dream Witch's favor.
Yeah, this is actually very big for the Dream Witch too, because the leech was not the thing that was hitting the Knight. Therefore, there is still two hunters on the field able to apply pressure to this Knight, which is definitely not the situation that's ideal for him.
We're going to see a lot of double pressure from both leeches from this Dream Witch, doing an amazing job, as well as this Knight being very, very patient, staying here at this forest area, allowing the Cypher Rush to be worked on pretty fairly well, I would say here. Still having his ability in use. Very curious to see what he's going to do here. He's going to go for an ability and a swing, which may not work in his favor here. But it does not matter. He's being very patient around these pallets.
Yeah, I mean, an ability and a swing, I mean, it didn't matter, but not in the case that he didn't get hit. I mean, the Dream Witch just wasn't even close, couldn't even scratch him with that pickaxe at all. And I mean, this Knight is just, despite taking a pretty early hit here, is just really running around and getting a long kite. I mean, we've only seen one patroller come out so far. We can probably expect to see a second patroller arriving soon. Actually, a switch to Blink has just happened. Not even caring, just really trying to get this down as soon as possible.
There goes the blink, and we will see the down as well. Amazing job by this Dream Witch. Though the Cypher Rush is very, very good, as they already have their last two Cyphers, both at 75%. So we're going to see potentially the Suicide Psychologist with Tide come in for this rescue, as she can eat 3 hits. And just having this mechanic decode is very, very crucial for this team. And having so much time, and we will see a blink, so we will see an early hit on Psychologist, but it will not matter, as she can take 3 hits. As if that was anybody else, except for Merc, they wouldn't be getting this rescue right now. And the last Cypher will be primed before the half rescue.
Yeah, I mean, not going to be able to get that Terror Shock onto the Psychologist that they were probably looking for, and the Cypher's just already primed. Knight using his abilities to boot just to gain some extra distance.
And actually hits 2 double predictions. Amazing job by this Knight utilizing his abilities well. And at this point, they know where Dungeon is, so they may even be able to go for an 4 escape. Very curious to see how this Dreamwitch will play this endgame. Will she protect the Dungeon? Or will she allow Knight to potentially push the gate, as they still have Coordinator's gun in play?
I mean, we'll have to see. Knight still has 1 helmet to work with. Dreamwitch does have a leech on him, though, so that leech will be coming, arriving back to the thing that it's leeched on very soon. If he tries to push that gate at all, that leech will become activated, so it's a tough position, but I mean, Coordinator gun, like you said, is on the table. Prediction's now going to be coming out. One attack, 1 nothing. It looks like he might be correct on the nothing prediction.
He will be correct on that, and will be able to potentially use this gun with Blink on cooldown. It looks like there's not really much that this Dreamwitch can do as they try to push for the 4 escape, and she does successfully hit her gun, and she ends up surrendering. Very, very good job by these Sugar survivors. How are we feeling, 7?
Yeah, I mean, I just gotta say, what a fantastic kite from that Knight. Really, I mean, he took an early hit and rebounded like a rubber ball, just totally, basically 5 Cypher kiting almost the Dreamwitch. And I mean, that is the threat of the mechanic as well. Like that, the mechanic's presence was absolutely felt in that match. Cyphers just rushing like there's no tomorrow, and just I think just really, really fantastic playing all around from Sugar. You know, they did really, really well that match.
Man, fantastic gameplay on both sides. And if you didn't notice, they actually had both gates open. So not only were they going for a 4 escape, but I mean, I have to give kudos to this Knight, pushing as far away as possible from the main body throughout that whole game was very, very crucial, which allowed that 3 Cypher, especially with Mechanic on a team like you had said before, kind of just changing the game. And then it almost felt like the finishing touch before the avalanche comes with that Coordinator gun.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you know, and the Coordinator being a character that I honestly thought that they weren't really going to have a lot of impact. I think I even said this before the game, that they weren't going to have a lot of impact because it is a Dream Witch. She does have, you know, a multitude of little leeches that, you know, that can all come and, you know, nip at your ankles to take you down, and, you know, gunning one of them doesn't really do a whole lot a lot of the time, but I mean, it actually did have a huge impact, allowed them to secure the 4 survivor escape, which I mean, just you don't see a usage like that happen all that often, so that was really fun to see as well.
Yeah, and if I had to give any feedback, I would say I think if the Dreamwitch utilized 1 or 2 more early game patrollers, I think she may have gotten that Knight down significantly earlier, not even needing to switch to Blink. But
Yeah,
I mean, a
I
lot of
have to agree.
pressure on them, a lot of pressure on that Hunter, as they did need to get a 4K. And like I said earlier, I mean, going Dreamwitch in a round 1, especially with the variety of survivors that can be chosen, a lot of tanky ones being added into this meta, you're running into a scenario where with the Dreamwitch being chosen, it's really a 4K or loss type of scenario, which we did see here. But it is not over, guys. Though they do go up in points 10-0 for Sugar, half a heart still has a chance in this round 2. As long as they can win or draw, we will be going into round 3. And that may be a little bit of a struggle depending on how this round 2 goes. Um,
Yeah, I mean, we'll
for
have to
these
see.
teams.
Of course, I mean, the half a heart Hunter, you know, really really had a difficult position there. I have to say, they needed that perfect game to kind of stay even with Sugar, and potentially might have pushed them into a pick that like you said, it's an all or nothing pick, and sometimes that coin flip comes up the other way, and you just have to deal with the results from that. But I mean, half a heart are down, but definitely not out. They do have that opportunity to come back in this second round, and if anyone can do it, it is half a heart. I believe they definitely have the gumption to go toe to toe and pull something off against Sugar.
100%. And I mean, as we've seen in many IDV tournaments, the tides can always turn no matter what round it is. As we even see in even more simpler matches, if we use this for an example, that night, utilizing the stalemate ability against Dream, which was so vital, probably taught a lot of people here what to do if you play Knight going against Dreamwitch. So there's a lot of things that we'll see, as we'll see Moonlit getting chosen as the second round map. How are we feeling about that?
I mean, Moonlight is. I feel like it's a very volatile map. If I had to choose a word for it, you see a lot of hunters that can make distance coming out on this map. You might see a Wu Chang, Goatman, fairly good here. Um, just things of that nature. I mean, Nightmare actually exists in some of the tournaments as well. I've seen that brought out, so there's potential for that. And then the coaster being a very big element in play that the hunter really has to play around. And whether they do so successfully or not is a huge factor to whether they're going to be able to succeed in taking down survivors, or get destroyed by the survivor side. It's a really big factor. So I mean, yeah, I guess that's what I have to say about it. I mean, what do you think, Noomer? What's your opinion on this?
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with you, Seven. It's going to be definitely those either super off meta picks, but are strong as they can go from side to side. We potentially may see a clown as well. But like you said, Wu Chang is pretty typical on a map like this. You may even see Percy if we're thinking off meta picks. As far as meta picks, Goatman and Hullabaloo would not be bad on this map as well. As I think Hullabaloo, this may be his homeland, as people may say. And when we run into this team comp going into round two, we're going to actually be seeing Half a Heart Hunter, who we just watched play Dreamwitch, go again against these Sugar Survivors. Do you think the Sugar Survivors are going to go with a heavy support team comp like they did round one?
I mean, it's definitely a possibility, although I think the support capabilities is probably a little bit diminished on a map like this, that it's just, there's a lot of space, and the hunter is more than likely going to be able to at least have decent mobility, whatever they're going to pick. They're going to have at least some sort of mobility tools in their kit. So support, I feel like, is diminished, but if that is what Sugar is comfortable with, we can probably expect just them to bring that out again. Make sure that they're not stepping outside of their comfort zone in a moment where it really matters.
100%. And I think with a map like this, like you said, the support definitely gets hindered a lot. But we may see those stronger characters get picked. Embalmer's still a high option value going on to Moonlit, as well as Acrobat. Just being so strong on a map like this. Even potentially Prospector may be one of those support but very, very helpful picks. And I guess we'll just have to find out. Very excited to see what they'll be opting into. For those that do not know, Half a Heart's Hunter does globally ban their Dreamwitch. And as far as the Sugar Survivors, they have their globally banned Knight, Psychologist, and Coordinator. And again, they did save that mechanic, so we may even see that going into round two.
Yeah, I was just about to mention, mechanics still on the table. They got the full roster of decoders still ready and available for them. Could potentially be good. I'm not sure how well decoders really work when you're very certain that the hunter is going to have a lot of mobility to them. But we'll have to see. We'll really have to see what Sugar kind of opts to do.
No, 100%. I'm very excited to see as well, kind of
Uh,
after that devastating loss, what this Half a Heart Hunter will go for.
all right. It looks like everybody we're going to be seeing a little bit of a delay from the players here. These things do happen sometimes, so we're going to be a little bit delayed heading into this second round here. I was okay. My brain is out of whack today, apparently. But yeah, we're gonna see a little bit of a delay heading into the second round here. So I mean, we got time to yap, I guess. What do you think of the Weeping Clown skin that they just added, Numer?
Listen, that's a great question. I appreciate you asking me because I feel completely opposite than the majority of people, I believe, when it comes to this skin. I feel like I've seen a lot of hate come out on it, but to me, I like most Weeping Clown skins, so I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Now, as far as being, I believe, an S tier, we might be stretching it a bit, but I don't think the skin is that bad. How are you feeling about it, Seven?
I mean, I'm the most hated person in the room when it comes to skin opinions because I feel like I'm always in the minority. But for this one, I gotta say I'm really in the middle of the road for it. Like it's an alright skin. I wouldn't buy it. I don't really play a lot of Weeping Clown. I'm not the biggest fan of the character in general. But you know what? If you play a lot of Weeping Clown, like this is not one of those skins I'm gonna see in the match and be like, oh my goodness, I need to bleach my eyes. I need to, run water over my face. I need to get it out of my system.
Well, a couple questions come up when you say it like that. The first one would be, what skins do that or do make you feel like that then?
I forget the name of there is one Wu Chang skin that is like mostly just a solid color, and also Wu Chang's limited S tier. I'm not.
His first one?
Yeah, I
What is
gotta
it like?
say,
It's almost like Egyptian, I think, or something like that. I forgot the name of it.
I
It's
don't
like
know. I forget the name of it as well, but it's
yeah, I think it's Divine, right? I believe is the name of it. It's like where he's wearing the hat, right? And his like version is blue, his black
yeah,
form.
yeah, yeah. That's ringing bells. That's ringing bells for me.
Yeah, I would say if I had to pick as far as his limited, I mean Far East Wind would definitely be up there compared to his Divine. I mean, I don't know. I'm not really too sure what they were thinking early years when it comes to IDV. But then comes my second question: as far as collabs, how are we feeling about this one up and coming?
I'm not too sure. I don't really keep up to date on the news. I see things when it comes in games, so I haven't really seen a whole lot about it. But you know, I don't mind as long as there's more collabs happening in the game. People are coming in. I'm happy. But how do you feel?
You know, as people say, they think IDV is a dying game. So any collabs to me is a blessing from the heavens. As like you said, we will be bringing in people. But enough yapping. It looks like we're running straight into the bans, and we're gonna see an Embalmer and a Merc. I'm not too sure what happened to Half a Heart's Hunter, but some mercenary traumatized them, as we're gonna see them continuously being banned.
Yeah, and we're gonna see the hullabaloo taken out from the side of the survivors, not even really hesitating on it. But I do want to talk about Mercenary really quickly. From my perspective, Mercenary's kind of fallen out of graces a little bit. You have a lot of rescuers that are kind of outperforming him right now. Like, how do you feel about Merc's place in the meta at the moment?
I almost think it's justified as Grave has taken the top spot, and second to none would be first officer, and even we're seeing a wildling before a Merc. And I do think Merc as a rank character is very, very strong, but I do believe with wildling support, he is a game changer in tournaments. Same with Gravekeeper being a tanky and not getting bled out type of rescuer. And first officer, I've always loved him with his decoding buff after using his watches. And we are going to see a pause here, guys. But we do look like we did lock in Seer and Mechanic. I didn't get to see what that third ban was. Did you, Seven?
I did not, and it is obscured by the pause screen currently. So I guess we're gonna have to wait to figure out what that is. But as far as the picks go, very meta, I have to say. Bringing out the seer, bringing out the mechanic, really. I mean, really, just convention. This brings me back. Actually, mercenary band, mechanic pick, seer pick, like this feels nostalgic.
Almost, right? And like we had said before, they will be utilizing Mechanic round two. So they definitely saved it for a reason, as they do have a strategy. I do believe Hullabaloo being one of the picks, uh, being banned, I think that is smart by the Survivor side, just because this is one of his stronger maps, if not his strongest one. But they are allowing this Goatman to be chosen potentially from this Hunter if they do play it. How are we feeling about that?
I mean, I think Goldman's very good here. I mean, of course, you gotta love the hullabaloo because he does have that home turf advantage, if you will, being on the circus map. But Goldman's also a really great pick here. I mean, Goldman has produced, I think, my favorite moment. In at least in NAU competitive with pit stoppers, first round against B4U or rival, and that was a really great match to watch. And I just love seeing Goatman in general, especially on this map where they use the cages and like flashy ways to get distance a lot. It's a fun pick, and I think it's really good here, especially with characters like Mechanic, Meteor that don't counter him that great.
I 100% agree with you. And as far as this half a heart hunter, it did look like they missed a ban, but the teams were able to talk about it. And it looks like Patient ended up getting banned. And we will see the meteorologist getting locked, who is very, very strong and can be utilized well on a map like this as they lock in for their last ban.
Absolutely. Fluttering on that cheerleader for a second there. I'm not sure if we're seeing technical issues potentially. We are seeing yet another pause, so we could see cheerleader being taken off the table. I think if that is meaning to be a cheerleader ban, it's probably very telling that Goatman maybe is not the plan because I mean Goatman does definitely goes pretty good into cheerleader. So I mean maybe they have something else up their sleeve.
Possibly. It looks like they, like you said, ended up missing a ban again. So more than likely they're going to talk about it and then they'll go ahead and lock in. Keep in mind, guys, potentially going into a round 3, we will see Seer, Mechanic, and Meteorologist all being banned. So I'm very curious because they do only have a Rescuer left. Will they lock in as they don't have Knight or Coordinator? Will they lock in? Will we see a Grave or potentially a Wildling or an FO? What are you feeling, Seven?
I mean, if I was the coach of Sugar right now, I mean, well, I guess that's a bad way of saying it because you'd have things you'd practice, and I'd be like, go with whatever you're comfortable with. But if I was looking at this through the analytical lens of what I think is best for this team composition, I have to say Gravekeeper. Honestly, like he's just so safe, and you don't have to sacrifice decoding. But it looks like it's
I
gonna be
wanna,
the officer.
which, like you said, may be something that they're playing into because it's the most comfortable for them. We won't know until we watch the match, but as far as the bans, guys, I believe Cheerleader was the last one that was banned. So we may be seeing an off meta and transitional, or maybe a hunter that gets countered by transitional survivors,
I
which
mean,
may or may not
who are
work.
you thinking? Maybe it's a nightmare.
Could potentially see a Nightmare, a Wu Chang. Again, I'm still, like I said earlier, the Percy is still open for play as well as a potential Geisha. I mean, all of these hunters are very, very strong, have typically high chase, um, but some may or may not ban transitional survivors. It just depends. I'm very curious to see what they're going to opt into, as well as these survivors, what kind of builds they're going to be working with. What would you think, Seven?
Ah, I mean, I guess we can not really decode a whole lot from the from the build names there. We got Page 1, Custom, New, and Ultimate Rescue. Not really sure what any of those really symbolize, but I can tell you we're probably going to be seeing Tide Turner on the first officer. That's about as much as I could tell.
We might, as the ultimate rescuer, I guess. They would say otherwise to the grave. Um, but we probably will see potentially a Suya mechanic. The thing is we're actually going to see a clerk get locked in, like we saw with off meta being chosen on Moonlit. Very exciting gameplay we'll potentially see. I mean, I love me a clerk. How are you feeling, Seven, about that?
I mean, I'm excited as well. You got your wish list fulfilled, well, at least a portion of your wish list fulfilled. I'm still waiting on that guard 26. I just gotta say, but I'm excited to see the clerk as well. She's really good on this map actually, just because like the areas where she can create recordings and trap, like there's not a lot of options you have. You basically have to give her the recording. You have to throw the pallet, otherwise you take a hit anyway. And like sure, there's a lot of areas where she can force getting recordings and then use them against you, of course. So I think it's a good pick here, and it makes the bands make a lot of sense. Getting rid of Embalmer, getting rid of Cheerleader, it makes everything fall into place very neatly.
Yep, and it looks like these survivors are going to opt into having Mechanic actually spawn first stop, which is a little bit different. Trying to read the Hunter here, potentially knowing that they're going to spawn, working Carousel, but the Hunter does not fall for it, actually spawns in between the first officer and Mechanic, which may or may not work out in their favor. They could run up a few different strategies here with Mechanic just dropping bot and having first officer touch the second stop, allowing them to completely rotate. Very curious to see as well what type of build this Clerk will be running. Do you think we'll be seeing a warp here, or will we see a blink, Seven?
I mean, I have to go on the side of warp just because it's a bigger map, and I think this spawn seems very much like, you know, Knight was able to kind of sniff out the plan of Sugar and just see through it like it was a piece of glass, and they want to get that Mechanic first, and Mechanic doesn't really have that many kiting tools, so I don't really see the value of bringing in a blink. Which, I mean, and I don't really know what else you'd bring on Clerk other than Warp, Blink. I mean, maybe Teleport, but it's just basically less good. Maybe Teleport's better on this map. I don't know. But I really don't. I don't know enough about Clerk to really theorize in terms of builds, though.
No worries. That's why you got me here, Seven. And as far as the Survivor builds, we're only going to see Mechanic running a full kite Sui with everybody else with Flywheel, Borrowed Time, and Tide from the first officer. Now, essentially, the Clerk is set up in a very good position due to, like you said earlier, Mechanic not really having a strong kite in general. That's why she's been bringing a build like that. So it may work out in the Clerk's favor early game, especially with how slow Cypher Rush is being on a map like Moonlit, probably losing about 20% early game. And we'll see her directly go for her, not too surprised here. And we're not actually going to see the bot drop because they know that they're going to have to kite here.
Yeah, I mean, will we see utilization of the coaster? I mean, probably almost certainly. You know, how well that's going to go will really kind of determine, I think, the course of most of the whole match. But it looks like the officers actually come over and turned off the second stop, which is going to make Clark get her steps in today, as she's going to have to walk all the way across the map if she wants to catch up to Mechanic.
And it does look like she's going to end up actually switching over to the new area on Moonlit and switch over to this first officer. Very curious to kind of see, as her two recordings haven't recorded anything, and she ends up actually recording herself, potentially getting that swing for a reason we will find out here soon, as it is on cooldown, and she ends up getting rid of it. This first officer doing an amazing job with his first pocket watch, not allowing a hit, but also staying in the range, pushing away from most ciphers, and now they'll also allow this Mechanic to decode, doing a very risky play here, and we'll have their watch on cooldown.
Yeah, first officer makes a very risky play there, but does get the third reapply. And I mean, this is just a very difficult situation for the Clerk because first officer is a pretty big counter, I have to say. Ends up blinking for the first hit. We're gonna see if that's gonna come to fruition here. If the officer is gonna be down before he can use his watch once again. It looks like it is gonna be off cooldown, but will she get the hit before he actually pops it? It doesn't look like it.
At this point, we may actually see him just straight up raw kite as she didn't grab any ability at all from him. Playing a lot of mind games here, which is Clerk's best abilities. And it looks like the Seer Owl may be getting utilized here. Not really too sure what their idea is, but their first officer doesn't actually end up going down, still playing around the same palette. And there goes no Seer Owl as well, as we see about a 3.5 cipher kite come from this first officer.
Yeah, down tumbles the first officer, but the ciphers are definitely progressed, and I mean Mechanic as well, being on the loose once again with the robot to utilize, going to be just accelerating that cipher progress exponentially as the match continues on, now that she's had time to kind of drop it and set things up. So I mean, even with the Clerk's, you know, very oppressive map pressure, it's going to be tough for her to really stop it.
As the first officer still has his pocket watch, and we do still have Seer's Owl in play, as well as Flywheel. She's actually going to end up getting hit here. Seer not using the Owl or Flywheel, but the Clerk is still going to chase the first officer, as we're going to see the Cypher slow down a little bit, but we do have one at 60 and one at 40%, with Blink still on cooldown, and there goes the second watch.
The second watch coming into fruition here. I mean, now we're seeing the Clerk just go back towards the Seer. Got that resource that she won, and now she's going to go chair the Seer. And we can probably expect her to just chair the Seer, create some pressure, force the survivors to come rescue, try to slow down those ciphers, and continue going for this officer. Try to secure any kill that she can get at this point.
But at this point, it may be a little bit too late. Amazing job by this clerk putting a lot of pressure. This first officer still having Tide in play, but with no ability, and they do have a mechanic working on the last Cypher. Here comes the Meteorologist with Blink on a 15-second cooldown, as well as Seer having still all of his abilities with Meteorologist coming in for the support. And there goes the push. And there goes the
Yeah,
down
I mean,
there.
just pushes the Hunter right into that pile of boxes there, buying a lot of time for the Seer. I mean, Blink is coming out. This is actually very important. We're not going to be seeing a Blink late game. Was countered by the Flywheel. Owl is now being utilized, and the Cypher's basically prime. Cypher's pretty much done. We might expect them to just go for a pop here, depending on how much distance that the Seer is able to make. It looks like yeah, they're just going to do it, and now we enter the end game with 4 survivors still up and running.
Which is very crucial, and it looks like someone is already on the gate, which it looks like these survivors are going to opt into a 3 escape, essentially putting the half a heart survivors in a very, very tough position going into this second half in round 2.
I mean, yeah, it's going to be tough for them. We do see the mechanic kind of on the other side of the map, potentially preparing for dungeon, but that other gate is not pushed at all. So maybe there is still an opportunity on the table for the clerk.
But it would be very hard, as they already are on their second share, and it only takes 6 seconds after they die for that dungeon to open up, and it does look like they're gonna actually opt into surrendering.
Does that mean it's a 4 escape then?
I believe so, because the match wasn't over. Instead of guaranteeing a 1K, which would have gained their team just 1 point and not allowing 5 points, we're gonna see them maybe accidentally surrender and give up 5 points for the other team.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait for a confirmation on that, I suppose. But yeah, if that is considered to be a forced survivor escape for Sugar, basically half a heart are gonna have to return the favor from their survivor side. Otherwise, we are gonna be seeing a conclusion to this matchup in the second round, Numer.
I think I may just be as confused as you as far as what the Hunter was thinking there. Unfortunately, based off of normal tournament rules, that would count as a 4 escape due to the Hunter surrendering too early, as they were moving Mechanic's bot to try to go in for that rescue. Though it wouldn't have made it, it still may count as a 4K or a 4 escape, I believe. So going into the second half, it's going to be very, very difficult at this point. We would need to see the half a heart survivors 4 escape going into round 3, 4 escaping again, and the Hunter getting a 4K.
Yeah,
So,
I mean that when you put it like that, that is a tall order indeed for half a heart to fill. Very, very difficult. I mean, the road to a win here is just paved with lava and spikes all over the place, falling pits of death, scary things. I mean, it's just very difficult for them to kind of dig them, or well, not dig themselves out of a pit, but build themselves out of a pit, perhaps.
yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I work at Starbucks and I'm not ordering a grande here, but this does feel like a tall order, if I do say so myself, having to come back from a 15-point deficit. I mean, I've personally never seen it, but we may be able to witness a miracle here today from these half a heart survivors and Hunter.
I mean, you know, there is a first time for everything. All things must happen eventually. So, I mean, maybe this will be the moment in time where we do see a 15-point deficit be just completely reversed. But you know, if I was a betting man, I wouldn't be hedging my bets that way.
I wouldn't either, but I can say a bad, a very, very good pick, not bad, I would say would potentially be a Bonbon, because he may guarantee a 1-man on a map like this, as most people cannot rescue against him. How are we feeling about that, Seven?
I mean, I would love to see a bonbon, of course. I said it. I said it basically the entirety of Seaside, and I got it in the last match, the last possible match I could have got it. I got it. So I mean, maybe we'll see it once again play out similar way with this matchup here. But yeah, you know, Bonbon's a great hunter, especially if you only really need one survivor in the grave. I I mean, there's a lot of hunters you could do to secure that though. To be fair, like you could play Bloody Queen, super safe as well. Like the really the world of possibilities is open to Sugar here.
No, 100%. And I think as far as meta picks, I mean, even Opera wouldn't be bad here, as this is probably one of her, you know, I'd say mildly to decently strong maps. I mean, they still have in play because they did choose Violinist round one, guys. They still have potentially Hullabaloo and or Goatman that can be picked. I'm really not too sure.
Yeah, I mean, really, I gosh, it's got to be just like as the hunter right now. You go to like a really nice buffet or something, and you're looking at like through the glass case at all the things. Oh, that looks nice. This just looks nice. Oh, I could have some of that. You know, and like you just, but you can only pick one thing. Then there's so many good options. It's just hard to choose, and it's even harder to predict.
No, 100%. I mean, the real question is what are these survivors going to go ahead and opt in? They do not have Gravekeeper, Patient, and Meteorologist, so they definitely will have to opt into a very, very heavy support type of team comp.
Yeah, I
And it looks
mean,
like we'll jump straight into it.
pretty much. I guess I would say if I had to construct like the perfect team comp for this, I would probably say try to get Embalmer, like Antiquarian, Wildling, Psychologist. I don't know if that makes sense. It's just what I'm thinking in the moment, but like you got to really go heavy into support and to try to secure all four of your players out the gate.
100%. And I mean, they still have wild cards like Enchantress, Prospector, those type of people who will not slow down the Cypher Rush, but can support mid, early, and end game. But it looks like Prospector is actually going to be one of the first out of the two picks banned.
Yeah,
Kills
Colonel
what you think.
Sanders didn't even want to entertain the idea of a prospector, just getting him out of the way right away, along with that mechanic, which we saw Sugar use to really great success. So I think Colonel Sanders maybe intimidated by his own team a little bit there. It's like, no thanks, okay, I don't want to see that anymore.
Potentially, and if you guys haven't noticed, it looks like Sugar's Hunter actually did get subbed out, and they do have another Hunter in. And it looks like we're going to see potentially, maybe they've looked at their profile or maybe they are a top breaking wheel main, but they're not risking it. And they're okay with having Hullabaloo or Goatman get played out on this round two Moonlit. And we're going to see Enchantress and Priestess, one of those stronger support and harassing two survivors getting chosen. I mean, I feel pretty confident about those two picks.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually a gorgeous draft, I think. I'm gonna hold that statement for 2 seconds. But yeah, I
My
really like.
goodness.
I mean, okay, I can't not address the mind's eye.
You got what you wanted on your checklist.
I guess so. I mean, this is like when you request something as like a joke and then it somehow gets met anyway. This is that moment.
And then we're gonna see the knight and the first officer ban, but we're actually gonna see lawyer get chosen as well. They're gonna be running a no rescuer double decoder team comp, and I'm not too sure what they're opting into here, but it looks like they want the Cypher Rush to be strong. How are they gonna be able to protect Mind's Eye and Lawyer on a map like Moonlit 7?
I guess Enchantress. I I don't really know. I believe the idea is basically so you kind of have to pick your poison if you're the hunter here. You have the mind's eye or you have the lawyer. You're gonna get cipher rushed either way. It just depends by who. And then they have the priestess and enchantress support to just like try to keep whoever does get chased alive. Like I feel like that's the idea.
No, I 100% agree with you. And again, when it comes to these survivors, you can see as far as their builds, Priestess is bringing something a little bit different. Maybe they chose the wrong character, but they're going to bring a forward build. You're going to see the restraint on Enchantress. And we're going to see potentially, looks like Fred Kite and Full Kite. So we will see a Sui build, I believe, coming from this Mind's Eye. Maybe they might opt into her getting chased. We're not really too sure.
More than likely. I mean, Priestess having the forward build probably means they have Tide Turner. I would guess if you were going to run Tide Turner on anybody, it would probably be the Priestess. As we see, Xander's kind of feathering between the guard and the photographer and the sculptor. Lots of different options.
And we're going to see the Bon pick. Seven's favorite.
Let's go. I waited months to see this. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. It's actually... it's pretty good here because really, how are you going to rescue? You only need one survivor. Who here is going to be able to rescue against a Bonbon? Like, raise your hand. No one's going to raise their hand because no one can do it.
I did, but I guess I wouldn't be playing Priestess, Enchantress, and Mind's Eye and Lawyer.
Yeah, I mean,
with a team comp like this, I mean, they're really potentially not necessarily in it to win it. As how strong that rework was for Bonbon, it will be very, very hard to rescue, as Seven said. And with people like Mind's Eye and Lawyer being the first chase, I mean, they're in a tough pickle, if I do say so myself here.
Yeah, I would have to exactly agree with you. And I mean, it looks like you are right on the Lawyer and Mind's Eye builds, bringing that Full Kite. Enchantress actually the only one with exit path, or not exit path, pardon me, borrowed time. And bring in Flywheel as a secondary trait. Everybody basically going all or nothing in this last match. I mean, I'm so excited. What do you expect to see here, Numer?
I think in a situation like this, Lawyer will not be chased just due to the fact that Bonbon does get countered by the fourth stop. But it looks like that Sui build by Mind's Eye will come into fruition as they did spawn 10. I'm not really sure. Maybe these half-a-heart survivors know something that both of us don't. And I can't complain about that because we will see the four-corner layout spawn. Maybe just trying to confuse the hunter into not knowing where to go exactly. But at this point, we will see Enchantress's Cypher potentially be locked, or potentially even Priestesses depending on the Cypher layout. So having two decoders on the same side may not be as best as we think, but the good news is Priestess can set up a global portal, and she does have Tide. Looks like the only one on the team. How are we feeling about that, Seven?
I mean, I think it makes sense, and it just actually, as you said, global portal kind of occurred to me. That's probably what this spawn was designed to do, to maximize the use of the global portal. Like, it doesn't matter because you know the Mind's Eye or the Lawyer's getting chased, right? So either one, you're gonna get a really good global portal no matter what the hunter goes for. So that was probably the plan. Western Baron. That was probably the plan there.
And there you go. You're going to see the Bonbon immediately turn around and chase his Mind's Eye as we predicted, just because of how strong Force Stop is. Now, she is walking right now, so they definitely know what they're doing as far as Mind's Eye, because I believe she does get a speed boost, as I believe they also reworked her. And the Bonbon does look a little lost here, not actually being able to find this Mind's Eye. Amazing job by them hiding, and great communication as the Lawyer is using his ability to see exactly where the hunter is, and we can see a switch. So we're very curious to see kind of how long this kite will last with a Sui build on Lawyer.
I mean, I have to say this is probably all the best things you could ask for if you were on the survivor side right here. You have the Lawyer kiting with a full kite build in the area that probably counters Bonbon as much as you can ask for on this map, and he wasted a lot of time trying to find that Mind's Eye really early. So this is, I think, a really good start for the survivors as these bombs just continue to not be able to find the Lawyer anywhere to be seen. Really doing a lot of good loop and gonna get a stun on top of it. I mean, this is looking very good.
Very, very good. I mean, this Lawyer is definitely utilizing his map well. And this Bonbon does have blink and play with almost 6 bombs already saved. But we will see a Cypher already pop. We will probably see Flywheel come out sooner or later here. Doesn't actually end up using it, but gets the pallet stun. Amazing job. And it does look like this Bonbon is running Insolence. And there goes the blink.
Oh my gosh, all of these bombs are just finding nothing but air. The Lawyer doing everything. The control bomb actually not being thrown, being placed onto the ground, creating an extra cooldown that the Bonbon has to deal with, not finding any use with it. It's coming back to haunt the lawyer now that he tries to go for that window speed boost. I mean, but this is still, the damage is already done. There's 3 ciphers already popped. This is not what you want to see if you're playing the guard right now.
But keep in mind, this guard 26 does only need a 1 kill to win and close out the Sugar team itself, as they'll win if they get a 1k. And it looks like he's dying all the way in the corner, but this was a 3 cipher kite with the last 2 ciphers, one already being at 60% and the other one being at 20. More than likely, we will see this priestess come in for the rescue. Again, amazing job by this lawyer, wasting as much time as possible. I think the only thing that kind of bit him was, like you said, that time bomb, which seemed like it was useless, but actually came in clutch when it mattered.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Merchant really cooking with the kite, I have to say. Now, Priestess, we can see is coming in, but the ciphers are being pushed. Really, what the survivors need to hope for right now is a good dungeon spawn. They need to basically hope that Merchant can somehow find the dungeon. You know, they do have a mind's eye. They can... Oh! Goes through, back through. Terror shocked over the window. Oh my gosh, what a sequence of events.
Good news is this lawyer cannot get terror shocked, but yes, you're right. He will be going down here. But it looks like they're already working on the glass cipher at 30%. Gave away the 20% cipher as it was the lawyer's original cipher. And it looks like they're all 3 at working at, you know, working carousel here under that, or near that 3rd stop. Very curious to see who they're going to send in.
It looks like it's going to be the Enchantress once again. Makes a lot of sense. She can potentially get 3 curses from the Bonbon's efforts to go for a stopped rescue here. And we do see a cipher lock situation has occurred to the survivors. It's not really going to be capitalized on from the Hunter, though. All these bombs just not really being able to chain. Enchantress just getting but gets terror shocked. And the emotional damage from the terror shock.
We're seeing insane gameplay right here. A lot of survivor mistakes, but the Hunter not hesitating and capitalizing on both of them, turning potentially a 1k, because this Hunter does not have trump card, into a 2k guaranteed with nobody on the gates. Very, very curious to see, will he be able to make it to the other side in time? I do not believe so, but Seven kind of described the sequence of events that just happened since it was so fast.
Okay, well, Numer, I believe the technical term for what happened to the Enchantress there is emotional damage. She was very upset about getting terror shocked and just kind of stood still for a while as the ciphers popped. Maybe there was an error of communication that happened there, which just allowed the guard just enough time to kind of recover and then panic stunned, basically, which just was not the play. I gotta say, it just was not the play, unfortunately.
And like you wanted, though, I don't know, you know, based off of that first kite, exactly if that's what you wanted, Seven, but we did get a Bonbon, and they did clutch a round 2, which is very, very typical as far as Bonbon in the off-meta scene, getting, you know, the normal draws. But based off of that draw alone, it will be 2-2 for that round, but it does not matter because Sugar will be taking home this win going into this, I believe, now week 3.
Yeah, I mean, I just have to say, you know, Half a Heart should be incredibly proud of their performance, especially that last match. Merchant really doing a fantastic job, buying a lot of time against that Bonbon, especially the Enchantress as well. Just everybody was able to dodge all of the bombs with such accuracy. It was really great play from the survivors, but, you know, the Terror Shock is like a blue shell. It will find you eventually, and, you know, when it does, you know, the whole house of cards does tend to come crashing down. So, you know, that does happen, but the survivors still put up a really fantastic performance, I think.
I 100% agree with you, and I believe as well, that might have actually been Half a Heart's team comp wise the best that they performed in that round 3, though they did have a little bit of that hiccup going into that end game. Like you said, the emotional damage was a bit too much for these survivors, but both teams played very, very well. It was very, very exciting to see completely different sides from everybody as far as picks, bans, and how the teams turned out.
I mean, we really did get just a full bingo card of like kind of unorthodox picks, didn't we? Like we got a first round violinist, you got your clerk, I got my guard, we got a mind's eye somehow. Like just, really checked all the boxes, I have to say.
Sometimes you can't complain. I know as far as these decoders, I know we were talking about which one we would see, but we actually ended up seeing two of them, which took me personally by surprise. But I was very, very happy on how they utilized Priestess, and they did it well. Actually, allowing that before half rescue, which against Bonbon is very, very hard to do. So kudos out to that Priestess, as well as that lawyer. Wow, very, very amazing gameplay by them. That end game, or I mean that early game, as far as their kite. I mean, for me personally, I'm probably dropping a couple of those pallets. I don't know if I'm going to loop it that many times.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree. The lawyer did really great, and I think, I was in the middle of saying this during the character selection phase. I got distracted by the minds I picked, but I do think it was a masterful draft from Half a Heart that really kind of led to them having such a big advantage going into that match. I believe Colonel Sanders didn't bother banning the priestess because he thought, okay, I'm gonna go wheel. And then Half a Heart just banned the wheel. They got rid of the wheel, took the priestess right from under his nose, and then brought out a really fantastic strategy that I have never seen before, and I'm surprised that we have not seen more of it because it worked really, really well.
And again, shout out to both hunter, or I guess three hunters that played today, and all of the survivors. Everyone played exceptionally well. We had our ups and downs in this match, but I believe again that is going to be Sugar's victory. I believe 17-2. Really, really showing dominance in this gameplay and performance today. Almost like they were playing at their peak, especially going into that round two. You saw what they did round one. Wow. Fantastic gameplay by both sides.
I mean, yeah, just a really dominant performance by Sugar. Just over the course of all of the matches, I have to say they played really fantastically. I believe it was Do, the rescuer player, that played Knight and did a fantastic kite, and then brought things back and did a fantastic kite with First Officer in the second game as well. Like I think the survivors were really the star of the show in this matchup.
Yeah, I definitely think there was a couple people I could easily point out that kind of, almost changed the game, it feels like. Um, and I really have to give my kudos out to the first officer that played that round one. Mechanic, was very, very smart as well on both ends of the side for their Cypher Rush. Like you said, the Knight played exceptionally well. I mean, we just saw a lot of different characters being utilized to their max potential, which again was very exciting to see. But I believe that's going to be it from us, guys. I'll let you say your, I guess last, words, Seven.
I mean, yeah, thank you very much. It was really fantastic being here to commentate. I'm excited to do more matches. I'm excited to see what is in store for the future of this tournament. It's been fantastic so far, and I think it'll be continue to be fantastic for the remainder of the tournament duration and potentially other seasons if the host decides to do more. So definitely a lot to look forward to. We got more matches happening today, so make sure you tune into those. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Unless you got anything else, Numer, I think we're ready to close things off.
You heard it from Seven first here, guys. Group stage finishing today. More matches to be coming in everybody's hometown soon. That's